First contact. The vastness of space stretched out before Captain Zara Chen as she gazed through the viewscreen of her small scout ship, the Starseeker. After months of solitary exploration in uncharted space, the isolation was beginning to wear on her. But Zara wasn't one to give up easily. Her determination and curiosity had driven her to volunteer for this mission, pushing the boundaries of human exploration further than ever before. As she absently adjusted the controls, a proximity alert suddenly blared through the cabin. Zara's heart raced as she scanned the readouts. An uncharted planet loomed ahead, its atmosphere shimmering with swirling purples and blues. "Computer, analyze planetary conditions," Zara commanded, her fingers flying over the console. "Analysis complete," the AI responded. "Atmosphere, breathable. Gravity, 1.2 Earth standard. Temperature, within human tolerance. Warning, unusual energy signatures detected on the surface." Zara's eyes widened. A potentially habitable world, and with signs of possible intelligent life. This was the discovery of a lifetime. She knew the risks of landing alone on an unknown planet, but the explorer in her couldn't resist. Initiating landing sequence, she announced to the empty cabin, a grin spreading across her face. The Starseeker broke through the atmosphere, and Zara gasped at the alien landscape revealed below. Vast purple forests stretched to the horizon, punctuated by glittering crystal formations that seemed to pulse with inner light. As she searched for a suitable landing site, movement caught her eye, organized patterns that suggested civilization. With a soft thud, the Starseeker touched down in a small clearing. Zara double-checked her equipment: translator, scanner, and a small sidearm for emergencies. Taking a deep breath, she opened the airlock and stepped out onto the alien world. The air was thick with unfamiliar scents, and a light breeze ruffled her short dark hair. Zara had only taken a few steps when a rustle in the nearby foliage made her freeze. She reached for her scanner, but before she could activate it, a figure burst from the trees with inhuman speed. Zara found herself face to face with the most striking being she had ever encountered. The alien stood nearly 7 feet tall, with iridescent blue skin and flowing silver hair. Most notably, it was unmistakably female, with a muscular build that radiated power. In her hand, she held a crackling energy spear pointed directly at Zara's chest. "Halt, intruder!" The alien woman's voice boomed, her eyes narrowing suspiciously. Zara raised her hand slowly, her heart pounding. "I come in peace," she said, praying her translator was working. "My name is Zara Chen, an explorer from Earth." The alien warrior tilted her head, studying Zara intently. After a long moment, she lowered her weapon slightly. "I am Lizara, guardian of the outer reaches. You claim to be an explorer, yet you bear the form of a breeder. Explain yourself." Zara blinked in confusion. "I'm not sure what you mean by breeder. On my world, we don't make such distinctions. All genders can be explorers, scientists, or whatever we choose to be." Lizara's eyes widened in surprise. "Fascinating. Your kind allows breeders to venture into the stars. How very unusual." Before Zara could respond, more alien women emerged from the forest, surrounding them. They conversed rapidly in their native tongue, occasionally glancing at Zara, with a mixture of curiosity and wariness. Finally, Lizara turned back to her. "You will come with us, Zora of Earth. Our matriarch must decide what to do with you." As they marched through the dense alien forest, Zora's mind raced. The civilization she had stumbled upon seemed to be entirely female, with a social structure unlike anything in human experience. Despite the potential danger, she couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement at the opportunity to learn about this unique culture. The forest eventually gave way to a breathtaking city. Towering spires of crystal and an unknown iridescent metal reached towards the sky, connected by graceful bridges that seemed to defy gravity. Alien women of various hues moved purposefully through the streets, many carrying weapons or strange devices. Zara was led to an enormous domed structure at the center of the city. Inside, she found herself in a vast chamber, its walls adorned with murals depicting epic battles and scientific achievements. At the far end, seated on an ornate throne, was a regal figure who could only be the matriarch. The alien leader regarded Zara with piercing silver eyes. When she spoke, her voice resonated with authority. "I am Matriarch Selena, ruler of the Asteri people. Lysara tells me you claim to be an explorer from a distant world, yet you possess a form our legends speak of, one we believed lost to the ages." Zara straightened her posture, determined to represent humanity well. "Honorable Matriarch, I assure you I speak the truth. I come from a planet called Earth, on a mission of peaceful exploration and scientific discovery." The matriarch leaned forward, her interest piqued. "Tell me, Zora of Earth, does your world truly allow breeders to take on such roles, to venture into the unknown reaches of space?" "Yes, matriarch," Zora replied, beginning to understand their confusion. "On Earth, all genders have equal opportunities. We don't distinguish between breeders and others in terms of our capabilities or roles in society." A murmur rippled through the gathered Asteri. The matriarch's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. "Intriguing. For countless generations, our people have believed that only the warrior caste could safely travel the stars. The breeders, what you might call males, have been kept protected on our homeworld, their genetic diversity carefully managed." Zara's scientific mind whirled with the implications. "You mean there are no males in your spacefaring population?" "Correct," the matriarch confirmed. "It is why your presence here is so unprecedented. You possess the form of a breeder, yet clearly demonstrate the capabilities of a warrior and explorer." A tall Asteri with deep purple skin stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with scientific curiosity. "Matriarch, if I may, this could be the key to solving our genetic stagnation. If the Earth humans have found a way to maintain genetic diversity, while allowing all members of their species to reach their full potential, it could revolutionize our entire society." The matriarch considered this for a long moment. Finally, she turned back to Zora. "It seems, Zora of Earth, that your arrival may be fortuitous for both our peoples. We propose an exchange of knowledge. You will share with us the ways of your world, and in return, we will grant you access to our advanced technology and the secrets of our planet." Zara's heart raced with excitement. This was beyond anything she could have imagined when she set out on her mission. "I would be honored, matriarch. However, I must contact my people and inform them of this situation. We have protocols for first contact scenarios." The matriarch nodded. "A reasonable request. We will assist you in establishing communication with your world. But be warned, we will be watching closely. Any sign of deception or aggression will be met with swift consequences." As Zara was led away to guest quarters, her mind buzzed with the possibilities ahead. She had not only made first contact with an advanced alien civilization, but had potentially stumbled upon a solution to their greatest challenge. The fate of two species might rest on the success of this cultural exchange. Little did Zara know that her arrival on this distant world was about to set in motion a chain of events that would reshape the future of both humanity and the Asteri, and ultimately, the entire galaxy. The trial. As dawn broke over the alien city, casting a shimmering purple light across the crystalline spires, Zara found herself standing before the Asteri High Council. The chamber buzzed with anticipation, filled with the most influential members of their society. Matriarch Selena presided over the gathering, her silver eyes fixed intently on the lone human. "Zara of Earth," the matriarch's voice rang out, silencing the murmurs. "Your presence here has sparked great debate among our people. Some see opportunity, others threat." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "Therefore, we have decided that you must prove your worth, not just as an individual, but as a representative of your species." Zara straightened her posture, meeting the matriarch's gaze. "I understand, and I'm prepared to face whatever challenges you set before me." A smile tugged at the corner of Selena's lips. "Very well. You will undergo the trials of ascension. Tests traditionally reserved for our own warriors seeking to join the ranks of the Stellar Guard. These trials will assess your physical prowess, mental acuity, and spiritual fortitude." The purple-skinned Asteri scientist from the previous day stepped forward. "I am Nyara, chief geneticist. I will oversee the trials and collect data on your performance. This information could prove invaluable in understanding the unique attributes your kind possesses." Zara nodded, a mix of excitement and apprehension coursing through her. "When do we begin?" "Now," Lizara answered, materializing beside her. The warrior's blue skin seemed to shimmer with anticipation. "I will be your guide through the trials. Are you ready, Earthling?" Without waiting for a response, Lizara led Zara from the council chamber and through a series of winding corridors. They emerged onto a vast training ground, unlike anything Zara had ever seen. Holographic obstacles flickered in and out of existence, while strange alien creatures prowled within contained force fields. "Your first trial," Lizara announced, "is the Gauntlet of Reflexes. You must navigate this course, avoiding the hazards and reaching the far end within the time limit. Failure means disqualification, or worse." Zara swallowed hard, eyeing the daunting course before her. She had trained extensively for her space mission, but this was beyond anything in the human regimen. Still, she refused to back down. "I'm ready," she declared, moving to the starting line. A piercing tone rang out, and Zara sprinted forward. Holographic walls sprang up in her path, forcing her to duck, weave, and sometimes leap over them. Energy beams crisscrossed her path, requiring split-second timing to avoid. At one point, she found herself face to face with a snarling alien beast, its razor-sharp claws inches from her face. Only her quick reflexes saved her as she rolled beneath it, feeling the rush of air as its talons barely missed her back. Lungs burning and muscles screaming, Zara finally crossed the finish line. She doubled over, gasping for breath, as Lizara approached with an impressed look on her face. "Remarkable," the Asteri warrior said. "Few complete the course on their first attempt, let alone with such grace." Nyara hurried over, her eyes gleaming as she scanned Zara with a strange device. "Fascinating. Your physiology allows for incredible adaptability. The way your body processes oxygen and manages lactic acid buildup, it's unlike anything we've seen." Zara managed a weak smile. "Glad to be of interest," she panted, but there was no time to rest. The next trial awaited, a test of mental acuity that pushed the limits of Zara's problem-solving abilities. She found herself immersed in a virtual environment, tasked with deciphering alien languages, navigating complex star charts, and even reprogramming malfunctioning ship systems under intense time pressure. Hours blurred together as Zara faced challenge after challenge. She grappled with moral dilemmas in simulated diplomatic scenarios, showcasing humanity's capacity for empathy and nuanced thinking. In a test of spiritual fortitude, she was subjected to vivid hallucinations designed to break her will, yet she emerged with her sense of self intact, impressing the Asteri with her psychological resilience. As the final trial concluded, Zara stood before the High Council once more. Her body ached, her mind was exhausted, but a fire of determination still burned in her eyes. The chamber was silent as the matriarch rose to address her. "Zara of Earth," Selena began, her voice carrying a note of admiration. "You have surpassed all expectations. Your performance in the trials of ascension has not only proven your individual worth, but has given us much to consider regarding the potential of your species." Nyara stepped forward, practically vibrating with excitement. "The data we've collected is extraordinary. The combination of physical adaptability, cognitive flexibility, and emotional intelligence, it's unprecedented in our records." The matriarch nodded thoughtfully. "Indeed, it seems we may have much to learn from Earth and its people." She fixed Zara with an intense gaze. But this raises new questions. If you are but one example of your kind's capabilities, what might an alliance between our peoples achieve? And what potential threats might such power pose to the galaxy at large? Zara took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. Matriarch, council members, I stand before you not just as an individual, but as a representative of humanity. We are a young species in galactic terms, still learning and growing. But at our core, we are explorers and innovators, driven by an insatiable curiosity about the universe and our place in it. She paused, looking around the chamber. Yes, humanity has the potential for great achievement and great destruction. Our history is marked by both triumphs and tragedies, but it is precisely this duality that drives us to be better, to reach for the stars, not to conquer, but to understand. The council chamber erupted in murmurs and debate. Zara waited, her heart pounding, as the Asteri deliberated. Finally, the matriarch raised a hand for silence. You have given us much to consider, Zara of Earth, Selena said. For now, you have earned the right to be our honored guest. We will allow you to establish contact with your people, under our supervision. The data from your trials will be analyzed, and we will discuss the possibility of further cultural exchange. As the council session adjourned, Lizura approached Zora with a newfound respect in her eyes. You fought well, Earthling. Perhaps there is more to your kind than we initially believed. Nayara joined them, her scientific curiosity barely contained. I have so many questions. Your biology, your thought processes. There's so much we could learn from each other. Zara smiled, exhausted but exhilarated. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm sure my people will be just as eager to learn about the Asteri. As she was led back to her quarters, Zora's mind raced with the implications of what had transpired. She had come seeking new worlds and scientific discoveries, but instead might have laid the groundwork for humanity's first interstellar alliance. The challenges ahead were daunting, but the possibilities, they were nothing short of revolutionary. Little did she know that her trials were far from over. The true test, one that would shape the destiny of both species, was only just beginning. Diplomatic tensions. The vast chamber of the United Earth Council buzzed with nervous energy as delegates from around the globe gathered for an emergency session. On the central holoscreen, Captain Zora Chen's face looked down at the assembly, her expression a mix of excitement and concern. And that concludes my initial report. Zora finished, her voice slightly distorted by the vast distance her transmission had traveled. The Asteri possess technology far beyond our current capabilities, but they've expressed interest in opening diplomatic relations with Earth. Admiral Chung, a stern-faced woman with graying hair, leaned forward. Captain Chen, while your discovery is undoubtedly momentous, we must proceed with extreme caution. These aliens' social structure and their interest in our genetic makeup raise significant concerns. Zara nodded, understanding the Admiral's reservations. I agree, Admiral. However, I believe the potential benefits of this contact far outweigh the risks. The scientific and cultural exchange alone could advance humanity by centuries. As the Council debated, tensions began to rise. Some saw the opportunity for unprecedented advancement, while others feared the unknown threats an advanced alien civilization might pose. Dr. Emeka Okafor, Earth's leading xenobiologist, raised his hand to speak. Colleagues, let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. Captain Chen's genetic profile has apparently unlocked something vital for the Asteri. This puts us in a unique bargaining position. A murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber, but it was cut short by the booming voice of General Santos. And what if they decide to simply take what they want? We must prepare for the worst. I motioned to mobilize the fleet and begin upgrading our planetary defenses immediately. The chamber erupted into heated arguments. Zara watched helplessly from the screen, unable to intervene directly in the debates shaping humanity's response to this first contact. Meanwhile, on the Asteri homeworld, similar discussions were taking place. Matriarch Selena faced pressure from various factions within her own government. The humans' performance in the trials was impressive, Lizara admitted, addressing the Asteri High Council. But can we trust their entire species based on one individual? Nyara, the chief geneticist, countered passionately. The potential here is staggering. Their genetic diversity could be the key to solving our long-standing fertility crisis. We must pursue this opportunity. The matriarch listened carefully to all sides before speaking. We cannot rush into this blindly. Yes, the humans offer great potential, but they are an unknown quantity. We must approach this with wisdom and caution. As both civilizations grappled with the implications of this historic encounter, Zara found herself caught in the middle. She had formed a tentative friendship with Lizara and Nyara, but she could sense the undercurrent of suspicion that still existed among many Asteri. One evening, as Zara gazed out at the alien sunset from her quarters, Nyara arrived with news. The matriarch has decided to send a delegation to Earth, she announced, her eyes shining with excitement. And I've been chosen to lead it. Zara's joy at the prospect of furthering interspecies relations was tempered by concern. Nyara, that's wonderful, but there's something you should know. My people are divided on how to respond to your civilization. Some are eager for contact, while others are fearful. Nyara's expression grew serious. I suspected as much. Our own people are similarly conflicted. But surely they will see reason once we arrive and demonstrate our peaceful intentions. Before Zara could respond, an alarm blared through the complex. Lizara burst into the room, her face grim. We've detected unauthorized transmissions from this sector to Earth. Someone has been leaking sensitive information about our defenses and technology. Zara felt the blood drain from her face. That's impossible. I've been under constant surveillance. I would never. We're not accusing you, Lizara interrupted, though her tone suggested she wasn't entirely convinced. But this breach has sent shockwaves through our government. The matriarch is reconsidering the delegation to Earth. The situation deteriorated rapidly. On Earth, the leaked information about Asteri technology fueled the arguments of those advocating for a more aggressive stance. Proposals for preemptive strikes and covert operations to steal alien tech gained traction among military hardliners. In a tense video conference between Earth's leaders and the Asteri High Council, accusations flew from both sides. The Asteri, feeling betrayed, demanded to know how Earth had obtained their classified data. Earth's representatives, in turn, voiced their concerns about the Asteri's interest in human genetics, fearing potential biological warfare or forced breeding programs. Zara watched in horror as months of careful diplomacy unraveled in a matter of days. She knew she had to act, to find a way to bridge the growing divide between these two cultures before it was too late. In a bold move, she requested a private audience with Matriarch Selena. To her surprise, it was granted. Matriarch, Zara began, her voice filled with urgency. I understand the breach of trust that has occurred, but I implore you not to let this derail everything we've worked towards. There's too much at stake for both our peoples. Selena regarded her with those piercing silver eyes. And what would you suggest, Zora of Earth? The hawks in both our governments are calling for isolation at best, open conflict at worst. Zara took a deep breath. A gesture of good faith from both sides. Let me return to Earth as part of a joint mission. I'll bring Nyara and a small Asteri delegation. We'll address the United Earth Council directly, clear up misunderstandings, and lay the groundwork for true cooperation. The matriarch was silent for a long moment. It's a risky proposal. There are those who would see it as capitulation, or worse, delivering our people into enemy hands. Sometimes the greatest risk is taking no risk at all, Zora countered. This might be our only chance to prevent a disastrous conflict and forge a partnership that could benefit both our species for generations to come. As Zara left the audience chamber, the fate of two civilizations hung in the balance. She had set in motion a plan that could either bridge the gulf between humans and Asteri, or plunge both worlds into an interstellar war from which there might be no return. The next few days would determine the course of galactic history, and Zara Chen, once a lone explorer, now found herself at the very heart of the storm. Genetic revolution. The sleek Asteri shuttle pierced Earth's atmosphere, a shimmering streak against the blue sky. Inside, Zara Chen felt a mix of anticipation and dread. Beside her, Nyara's eyes were wide with wonder as she gazed at the approaching planet. "It's beautiful," the Asteri scientist breathed. "So much water, so many shades of green and brown." Zara managed a tense smile. "Wait until you see it up close." As they descended towards the United Earth Council's headquarters in Geneva, Zara briefed Nyara and the small Asteri delegation one final time. "Remember, transparency is key. We need to address their fears head-on and emphasize the potential for mutual benefit." The landing pad was ringed with security forces, their weapons thankfully lowered but still visible. A mix of excitement and apprehension radiated from the gathered crowd of officials and media representatives. As Zara stepped out, followed by the towering Asteri, a hush fell over the assembly. She took a deep breath and strode forward to meet the Earth delegation, led by Admiral Xiang and Dr. Okafor. "Welcome home, Captain Chen," Admiral Xiang said, her eyes never leaving the aliens. "I trust your guests are prepared for today's proceedings." Nyara stepped forward, bowing her head slightly. "We come in peace and with open minds, Admiral. We hope today marks the beginning of a new era for both our peoples." The next few hours were a whirlwind of security checks, briefings, and barely contained chaos as the United Earth Council prepared for the historic joint session. Zara found herself constantly mediating between nervous Earth officials and the equally tense Asteri delegates. Finally, the moment arrived. The council chamber was packed, with billions more watching the live broadcast around the world. Zara took the podium, acutely aware of the weight of history on her shoulders. "Distinguished delegates, honored guests, citizens of Earth," she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We stand at a crossroads. The path we choose today will shape the destiny of not just our world, but of two civilizations." Over the next hour, Zara laid out the full story of her encounter with the Asteri, the misunderstandings that had led to the recent tensions, and the incredible potential for collaboration. She then introduced Nyara, who presented a comprehensive overview of Asteri society, technology, and their proposal for genetic exchange. "Our two species are remarkably compatible," Nyara explained, her passion for the subject evident. "The diversity of human genetics could be the key to solving our long-standing fertility issues. In return, we offer advancements in medicine, clean energy, and faster-than-light travel that could propel humanity centuries forward." The chamber buzzed with a mix of excitement and skepticism. Dr. Okafor raised his hand. "This all sounds promising, but what safeguards can you offer? How can we be sure this genetic exchange won't be used to create biological weapons or lead to exploitation?" Nyara nodded, having anticipated this concern. "We propose a joint oversight committee with equal representation from both species. All research would be conducted transparently, with fail-safes and ethical guidelines agreed upon by both parties." The debate raged on, with pointed questions about military capabilities, resource sharing, and the potential cultural impact of such close cooperation between species. Through it all, Zara and Nyara worked in tandem, addressing concerns and painting a vision of a shared future that slowly began to win over even the staunchest skeptics. As the session neared its end, Admiral Qiang stood. The chamber fell silent, all eyes on the influential military leader whose opinion could sway the final decision. "I entered this chamber today prepared to advocate for isolation, even military preparation," she began, her voice grave. "But having heard the full scope of what's being offered, and the safeguards proposed, I find myself reconsidering." She paused, looking directly at Zara and Nyara. "We cannot let fear drive us away from what could be the greatest opportunity in human history. I move that we enter into formal negotiations for an alliance with the Asteri people." The chamber erupted in cheers and applause. Zara felt a wave of relief wash over her, seeing months of tension begin to dissipate. But she knew this was only the beginning. Over the next few weeks, teams of scientists, diplomats, and ethicists from both worlds worked tirelessly to hammer out the details of the genetic exchange program. Zara found herself shuttling back and forth between Earth and the Asteri homeworld, facilitating communication and smoothing over cultural misunderstandings. Finally, in a historic ceremony broadcast across both planets, the Human-Asteri Genetic Cooperation Treaty was signed. Research facilities were established on both worlds, with mixed teams working side by side. The breakthroughs came faster than anyone had dared hope. Within months, Asteri scientists announced a major advancement in treating their species' fertility issues. On Earth, the application of Asteri biotechnology led to cures for several previously intractable diseases. But it was a discovery in Nyara's lab that would change everything. Late one night, as Zara was visiting the research complex, Nyara burst into her quarters, eyes wild with excitement. "Zara, you need to see this immediately." The Asteri scientist practically dragged her to the lab, where a holographic display showed a complex DNA sequence. "We were exploring the interaction between human and Asteri DNA," Nyara explained breathlessly, "when we discovered something extraordinary. There's a dormant section in the human genome that, when activated by specific Asteri genetic markers, unlocks, well, there's no other word for it but potential." Zara stared at the swirling hologram, trying to grasp the implications. What kind of potential? Nyara's eyes shone with a mix of awe and trepidation. Enhanced regeneration, improved cognitive function, even the possibility of limited psychic abilities. "Zara, this could be the next step in human evolution, a true melding of our species' best traits." As the full impact of the discovery sank in, Zara felt a chill run down her spine. This was beyond anything they had imagined when they began this journey. The power to fundamentally alter the course of human development was now within reach. "We need to approach this very carefully," Zara said, her mind racing. "The ethical implications alone." Nyara nodded solemnly. "Agreed. This isn't just about our two species anymore. What we do with this discovery could change the face of the entire galaxy." As they stood there, contemplating the enormous responsibility that now rested on their shoulders, neither Zara nor Nyara could have imagined the cosmic storm that was brewing. A threat that would soon force humanity and the Asteri to put their newfound alliance to the ultimate test. Galactic Alliance. The news of the genetic breakthrough spread rapidly, igniting a firestorm of debate across both Earth and the Asteri homeworld. Ethical concerns clashed with the promise of unprecedented advancement, as both species grappled with the implications of this new power. Amid the controversy, Zara found herself thrust into the role of mediator once again. She shuttled between world leaders, scientific committees, and public forums, striving to ensure that cooler heads prevailed in the face of such a monumental discovery. It was during one such diplomatic mission that the universe decided to throw them another curveball. Zara was aboard an Asteri cruiser en route to a conference on Mars when the ship's alarms blared to life. She rushed to the bridge, where Captain Lizara stood rigidly before a holographic display. "What's happening?" Zara asked, her heart racing. Lizara's face was grim. "We've detected a massive energy surge at the edge of your solar system. Something is coming through, and it's like nothing we've ever seen." The display zoomed in on a swirling vortex of dark energy, from which emerged a fleet of ships that defied description. They seemed to shift and writhe, as if the very fabric of space-time bent around them. "By the matriarch's crown," Nyara whispered, having joined them on the bridge. "It's them, the Void Harbingers." Zara turned to her, confusion and fear mingling in her voice. "The what?" "An ancient threat," Lizara explained, her eyes never leaving the display. beings from another dimension who consume entire worlds. They're spoken of in our oldest legends, but we thought they were just myths. As they watched, the alien armada began to advance into the solar system. Earth's defense fleet scrambled to respond, but their weapons seemed to have little effect on the otherworldly invaders. "We need to warn Earth," Zara said urgently, "and call for reinforcements from the Asteri homeworld." The next few hours were a blur of frantic communication and desperate strategizing. The combined forces of humanity and the Asteri rallied to face this existential threat, but it quickly became clear that conventional tactics would not be enough. In a secure bunker beneath Geneva, Zara found herself in an emergency session with leaders from both species. The tension in the room was palpable as reports of devastating losses poured in from the front lines. "Our weapons are ineffective," Admiral Xiang reported, her usual composure cracking. "These void harbingers seem to exist partially out of phase with our reality. We can't even touch them, let alone destroy them." Matriarch Selena, who had arrived via emergency teleportation, spoke up. "There may be a way. The genetic breakthrough we've been debating, it could be our only hope." All eyes turned to Naira, who stepped forward nervously. "Theoretically, yes. The unlocked human potential, combined with Asteri's psychic abilities, might allow us to bridge the dimensional gap. But we've barely begun to understand these changes, let alone control them." "We don't have time for caution," Zara interjected. "Every moment we delay, more lives are lost. I volunteer to be the first test subject." A heated debate erupted, but in the end, desperation won out over prudence. Zara was rushed to a hastily prepared laboratory, where Naira and a team of scientists began the risky procedure to activate the dormant genes. Hours later, as the Void Harbingers pushed ever closer to Earth, Zara emerged from the lab. She looked outwardly unchanged, but there was a new intensity in her eyes, a barely contained energy that seemed to radiate from her very being. "How do you feel?" Naira asked anxiously. Zara flexed her fingers, marveling at the new awareness coursing through her. "Like I can see the strings that hold the universe together," she murmured. "And maybe, just maybe, how to pluck them." There was no time for further tests. Zara was rushed to the front lines, accompanied by a squad of Asteri psychics. As they approached the Void Harbinger's flagship, Zara felt her newfound ability surge. She reached out with her mind, feeling the fabric of reality bend around the alien vessels. With a thought, she tore a hole in space-time, exposing the Void Harbingers to the full brunt of the combined human Asteri fleet's firepower. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Zara, augmented by Asteri technology and supported by their psychic warriors, danced through dimensions, outmaneuvering the invaders at every turn. Human ingenuity and determination, bolstered by Asteri wisdom and power, proved to be a formidable combination. After what seemed like an eternity of cosmic combat, the tide began to turn. One by one, the Void Harbinger ships were destroyed or forced back through the dimensional rift. As the last enemy vessel vanished, Zara used the last of her strength to seal the breach, collapsing to the deck of her ship as cheers erupted across every communication channel. In the aftermath of the invasion, as both species began the long process of rebuilding, a new era dawned. The shared struggle against a common enemy had forged an unbreakable bond between humans and Asteri. The genetic breakthrough that had saved them all was now embraced as the key to a shared future. Zara, hailed as the hero of two worlds, found herself at the center of a new initiative. A galactic alliance was formed, with Earth and the Asteri homeworld as its founding members. Their mission, to explore the cosmos together, to seek out other civilizations, and to stand united against any threats that might emerge from the depths of space. As she stood on the bridge of the newly christened Alliance flagship, preparing to embark on their first joint mission of exploration, Zara couldn't help but marvel at the journey that had brought them here. From a lone human explorer to the bridge between two civilizations, she had played a part in reshaping the destiny of not just humanity, but of an entire galaxy. The stars beckoned, promising new adventures, new challenges, and new opportunities for growth. And this time, they would face them together, human and Asteri, united in their quest to unlock the ultimate potential of life in the cosmos. As the ship engaged its faster-than-light drive, Zara smiled. The greatest adventure was just beginning.